Hello, everyone. My name is Ernest Obengchukwu from the Center for Coastal Management, Africa Center of Excellence in Coastal Resilience, and I am presenting on a participatory regional assessment of women shelf fisheries in West Africa. Now, this project was funded by the USAID and led by the University of Rhode Island in partnership with the University of Cape Coast and 4 other partners. To start with, we wanted to better understand the scale and scope of shelf fisheries in West Africa in general. And to achieve this, we conducted participatory assessments of these shelf fisheries in 11 countries in West Africa, right from Senegal to the west, down to Nigeria to the east. To do this, we had consultative meetings and interviews with resource users, government, academia, NGOs, and local community authorities. Now, the approach was to use a very deliberate gender focus on a neglected small-scale capture fishery. The results from this study have been published, and you can find it on Frontiers in Marine Science, and the title was Spotlighting Women-Led Fisheries Livelihood Towards Sustainable Coastal Governance, the Estuarine and Mangrove Ecosystem Shell Fisheries of West Africa. Now, the results of this study were quite intriguing, such that to our surprise, we actually found a very wide expanse and scatter of women shell fisheries all across the coast of West Africa. In each country that we assessed, there were at least 4 shell fishing areas in that country. From what we found, Ghana was the highest shell fishing country with the most locations for shell fishing. Gambia was another, Senegal also. From the data we have, we anticipate that Nigeria is possible to have also a lot more shell fishing areas, which leaves room for more research into the future. Now, the important areas that we found for this shell fishing were the Salum Delta, the Tambi wetlands in Gambia, and the Densu Delta in Ghana. Across the region, we found that those engaged in shell fishing in estuarine and mangrove areas were made up of 79% of women, and in each country, at least 60% of those doing shell fishing in estuarine and mangrove areas were women. Now, the types of species that we found were mostly the bivalves, the gastropods, and some crustaceans, and as well as cephalopods. So as you can see on this screen, the Crassostra tulipa was the most ubiquitous, and it was the most harvested by women in these shell fishing areas, and that is the oyster, mangrove oyster. And these are some of the species that we found: the mangrove oysters, bloody cockles, the periwinkle, whelks, razor clam, freshwater clams, shrimps, and also the brown mussel. Across the region, the finding was that women were the most dominant shell fishing group among the bivalves and gastropod shell fisheries, which means that they cut across the entire value chain: harvesting, processing, marketing, and transportation. However, for the crustacean cephalopods, you find that women maintain their traditional roles as processors and marketing, whilst men control the harvesting and transportation. Now, interesting results that were found were that about 1.5 million hectares of mangrove areas are available potentially for shell fishing. Also, 55,000 plus estuarine and mangrove ecosystem-based shellfish harvesters were found to be present along the coast in all of these 11 countries. And 79% of these were women, as I've mentioned earlier, and 570,000 plus household beneficiaries were estimated to benefit from shell fisheries. Also, 300,000 plus metric tons of shellfish are estimated to be harvested by these women on an annual basis. This sums up, or is estimated to be valued at about $300 million per annum. And this shows the scale of the activity that is ongoing. Now, to finalize my presentation, using a gender lens in such a research of small-scale fishery helped us highlight the important role women play in such a shell fishery, which is a small-scale shell fishery that has been neglected for a long time. So the proposal is that in analyzing shell fisheries or in analyzing capture fisheries in general, we encourage that fisheries officers, academia, and NGOs, and all who matter apply a gendered approach, and that could help us further elicit more information on how important women's roles are in such fisheries across Africa. Thank you very much.